Welcome to God's Plan Works. I'm Dr. Frank S. Smith, founder of God's Plan Works. Hey, I'm videoing from this beautiful city of Redland, California, near San Bernardino. And this word that we're going to drop in your thoughts and your spirit today, the Lord re-gave it to me again as we were flying into Santa Ana, California. And I want to just encourage each and one of you today, let God direct you. Let me say that again, let God direct you. Or as you probably hear me repeat, He's working it. I just want to encourage someone today to let you know that God is working it. Whatever you're trying to work out, whatever is going on in your life, I want you to know He's working it. Our scripture text will come from Luke chapter 5. Verse 4 through 6, and you can read that on your own. But allow me to read this for you. It says, and this is from the Amplified Bible. It says, when he had finished speaking that he is Jesus, he said to Simon or Peter, put out into the deep water and lower your net to catch fish. And then it says, Simon replied, Master, we have worked hard all night to the point of exhaustion and caught nothing in our net. But at your word, he says, I will do as you say. This is the Amplified. I will do as you say and lower the net again. Hey, when I look at that, man, the thought came into mind as we were flying on the airplane into Santa Ana. I thought about, my mind came to the thought of location or position equals clarity of purpose. Location or position equals clarity of position. What do I mean by that? Sometimes in order for you to hear what God has in store, what word He has for you, you have to be in the right location, in the right position, and God will lead you there where you can experience Him. Quickly, the background of this text is Jesus is calling His disciples. He's launching His ministry, and he's at the Sea of Galilee, where He finds Peter and the sons of Zebedee, which were a fishing company. They were out there fishing. And the text makes it very clear they had been fishing all night long, and they had caught nothing. And Jesus approaches him because Jesus finds Peter. In fact, he begins to teach, and he uses Peter's boat. He gets in the boat, pushes it a little bit out, and he teaches from that boat. And when he had finished teaching, according to the text, he speaks to Peter and says, Peter, launch out into the deep. King James Version would say. Hey, before I continue this thought, let me pause here right quick. Would you please consider purchasing my book, Doing the Greater Work? Amazon is one of the locations you can find it. You can search it, Doing the Greater Work by Dr. Frank S. Smith. Also, would you also consider subscribing to my channel, God's Plan Works? Would you also consider giving me a thumbs up to let me know how we're doing, and then ring the bell so you can be alerted of future videos. Hey, let's get back into the lesson real quick. As you read the text, you can see Peter was having a frustrating day. Peter was, from Peter's point of view, you see, everything his profession taught him, he was doing. He was doing everything he knew to do that was right. I mean, in my mind, as I was rereading the text, in my mind, I was saying he probably changed his location, but he was still fishing at the same depth. He probably cast that net 360, left, right, north, south, east, west. He probably, according to the text, he checked his nets. He probably even checked in with his fellow fishermen. And as a result, the end result is all the things that he attempted to do says he caught nothing. Oh man, that's. Have you ever been in that spot, man, where you've done everything you know to do and it's still not working out? Well, I just want to encourage you today with this thought. Let God direct you. See, Jesus just simply said to Peter, put out or move into the deep and let down your net. See, from that point of view, I can see God knows where you need to be so he can truly, so you and I can truly see him. Sometimes, and I want to say this more than once, I probably do, and I don't want to sound blasphemous here, but sometimes resolution does not require complete faith, just obedience. Let me say it one more time. Sometimes resolution to your situation does not always require complete faith, but it does require obedience. Oh, I know you said, Pastor, you blasphemy. What do you mean by that? Well, I'll come back to it later on in the video study again. See, Peter, when you read the text, Peter didn't see how. He heard what Jesus said, but he didn't see how. So his faith, he done everything he knew to do. He didn't see how. But Peter said this, and this is where obedience comes. He says, nevertheless, at your word, I will let down my net. Again, see, Peter listened to what Jesus was saying, even though his faith was kind of shaky on what he heard, but he chose to obey the words of the Lord. Man, I don't know about you, but I can think about 5 situations that I call roundabout. Not about, but roundabout, just roundabout. Look, can you relate to this situation? Roundabout midnight, God is working things out. You read Paul and Silas in jail in Acts chapter 16. It says round about midnight. In other words, sometimes you could be in your darkest moment. I'll say that again in another place. Sometimes you could be in this where you're locked up. You don't know which way to go. But if you just keep, in fact, follow Paul and Silas' example, they just prayed and they sang. They praised and they prayed. And around about midnight, God saw a way through. Number 2, I was thinking about another situation around about the 9th hour. Man, God is working things out. See, I know. Don't you quit. Don't you give up. Don't you. I hear you. I feel you. Been there. I do understand. But don't you give up. Because why? Because if you give up, you won't hear the voice that's leading you and directing you where to go. I want you to read Isaiah chapter 30, verse 21 through 26. That 21st verse is key to me. That is, you'll hear this voice behind you saying something. Let me read this Isaiah, verse 21 of Isaiah 30. It says, and you will hear a word speaking behind you saying, this is the correct way. Walk in it, whether you are heading to the right or to the left. In other words, round about the 9th hour, when you think things aren't going to work out, listen for that still, small, quiet voice of God that will direct you. Oh, around about the darkest moment. Let me want you to know, child of God, he's working things out. God is working things out. Look at it. How do I know? Paul said this too in Philippians chapter 2, verse 10. He says, for it is God who works in you both to will and to do his pleasure. Oh man, there's another roundabout. Round about the time you open your mouth, God's answer is already on the way. Yeah, I know you're praying. I know you're saying, but I want you also to know that around about the time you opening your mouth to petition to God, the answer to your prayer is already on the way. Listen to what Isaiah 65 and verse 24 says. Let me read this before I get to I know I'm getting happy right now. Hear what it says. Isaiah 65:24 says this. And it shall come to pass that before you call, I will answer. That's what God is saying. And watch this, and while they are still speaking, I'll hear. In other words, he's already sent the answer. And even while you're talking, he's still listening. Child, just hold on. Your answer is on the words. What I'm trying to say to you today, let God work it. Just let God work it. In other words, let God do the do. Just let God do the do. Let him. Why? Why are you saying that, Pastor? I'm saying this because he's working it. And if you let him work it, Oh, he'll get you where you need to be. In other words, when he speaks, you just do. Remember what I said earlier? Earlier in the note, I said, sometimes resolution does not require complete faith. What? Just obedience. Oh, hallelujah. And you're saying, Pastor, that sounds bad. No, it don't. Listen. And you can read the story of this man who went to the apostles to heal his son, and they couldn't do it. Jesus comes along and he assesses the situation, and then Jesus asked the father, he said, do you believe I can heal your son? Listen to the father's response. The father said, I believe, but help my unbelief. His faith was, not up there on the up shelf, on the top shelf, but his obedience is whatever you say, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to be. So what I'm saying to you right now, and I hope you'll play this recording back again as we close and move on. Just let God do what he does. In other words, God is working it, so just let him work it. Hey, let me go. Again, before I get too happy, look, again, my appeal to you is simple. Would you please consider subscribing to our channel, God's Plan Works. And again, I want to thank you, those of you who have subscribed, and I wish I knew all your names. I would communicate you every day, but I thank you for subscribing. Would you also take the time to give me the thumbs up? And also, would you ring that bell wherever it's located on your YouTube channel? Ring that bell so you can be alerted of future upcoming videos. Hey, until next video, as always, may God smile upon you. May the Lord surround you with his grace and his mercy. And finally, may God grant you his peace. So I just want to say to you, thank you for tuning into our channel. And even though we're out here in California, we're still going to get this posted to you because I have a commitment to you to encourage you all that I can and all I know how to do. So until next video, you be blessed and keep the faith. Just don't forget, whatever you're going through, he's working it.